And we're live. I hope everything's working as it should be. Oh dear. I knew that would happen. Knew there'd be something I'd get wrong. I had my Mac unmuted still. Anyway. Welcome to the first episode of the Freecast. Oh fuck, I've just realised it still says the wrong fucking details and everything too. Oh, I hate everything. Let me just try and fix this real quick. My name is Simon Osfrey Osborne, anyway, and I'm joined today by my lovely friend, Mr. Chris Fainrath, or Feinrath, however you say it. I don't really know.
I've always said it as Fainrath, but everybody that I know says it as Feinrath, so maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
It's Feinrath because I'm mighty fine.
So, okay, let's fix that one real quick. So that should no longer be saying we're playing World of Warcraft, because we're not playing World of Warcraft, funnily enough. And yeah. God, everything's wrong.
Can I just say how much better your stream looks with the photo of me on it?
Oh yeah, no. It was shit before with just me on my green screen.
Yeah.
Now it's got Mr. Chris in there, and it's very nice.
Yeah. It's just a pity it's just like a static image, isn't it? We need to have to sort that out. Get some.
Do you have a webcam?
Live. Yeah, I've got a webcam.
Yeah,
I got a new one like a month and a half ago as well, so it's pretty decent, better than my last one. So it's a Logitech. They're pretty standard Logitechs, I think, aren't they?
I think so. Mine's a Logitech C920. Ban everyone. Oof, that's mean, Eddie. That's mean. I'm not going to do an Izzy. But yeah, no. I mean, it depends how many people are joining us. I think so. Like, if say for instance Dan was here, we'd probably need to work out maybe use Zoom or something, and then I'll just capture your individual cameras from that. But if it's just a one-on-one thing, I don't know. Maybe we could just. I mean, Discord has a webcam function, I think, so we could just get it from there. But I don't know.
Whatever works. We'll
whatever
work
works.
Something out. We'll work
whatever
something.
Works. We'll work it.
For now, you've just got my audio. So
yeah. For now.
With my Scouse accent.
Oh yes, the Scouse accent. It's not Scouse, by the way. That's just what I say. Discord has conference calls. I mean, so multiple people can do webcams, can it? Okay.
I think so. Pretty sure.
That's good to know. Okay, so we could do it that way then. Depends how well it works, really. Something to play with in the future, anyway. But for the moment, the idea behind this podcast is just chatting, really. Chatting about games, chatting about news. Like, currently, as most people will be aware, a lot of things in America going on is kind of eclipsing everything else. But, yeah, we're totally an original idea, obviously. Not a single other person has ever had this idea to do a podcast talking about games and news. I don't know. Just having a laugh, really. Just having a laugh.
Just chatting shit, really.
You've never seen this before.
Unscripted.
I mean, that's good to know. Unscripted, yeah, unscripted. That's true. Very true. Definitely unscripted.
You
Nothing
would be
here
very
is
worried
prepared.
if this was scripted so far, wouldn't you? Like, if
Yeah.
we were just reading this all out. Like we pre-planned this.
We scripted it to be
gibberish.
a fucking awful start. But yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
The title thing was also on purpose. Simon did that just to,
Oh yes, absolutely.
just to. He wanted to get all the WoW nerds into the stream, so he thought let's get my primary audience in. Pretend we're going to be playing WoW, when actually no, we're just talking here. You're just looking at my face and that's it. And
I mean, we are going to talk briefly on WoW, because you may not be up to date with everything going on, but there's still news to do with WoW. Like, there's news to do with everything. Actually, one thing I didn't look up, because Dan's not here, and I would have hoped he'd be here to talk about maybe some Apex Legends news, if there is any, so I'm just going to have a look and see if there is. But, I mean, we'll just jump into a little bit of it anyway. I'm wondering, actually, if maybe we should push the podcast a little bit later in future, just because in the case of WoW, on a Tuesday, for those who are not in the know, America is on a different reset to the EU. I play on the EU, funnily enough. I am British. And in America, their reset is going to be in a little under 2 hours, which means there'll be a whole new set of things going on, which then will come to the EU tomorrow, or tonight. Well, no, tomorrow in the morning. So yeah, I'm wondering if maybe pushing back this an hour or two might be beneficial, just so I have that update to base on, to just work with anyway.
That might be a good idea, yeah. So you're not talking about it a week later.
Yeah, because one thing I wanted to maybe touch on every so often would be, obviously the Epic Game Store does its free game, and just you want to mention, hey, there's a free game, by the way, which at the moment, by the way, is Overcooked, which looks great fun. You do need friends to play with, though, and I don't have friends, so there you go.
I'm not his friend, I'm his enemy.
Yes. No, you're my coach.
So it's just, I'm your coach, actually.
You're my coach, yes.
Coach.
You can't be friends with your coach. But by the time, if we can upload this to wherever we're planning to have it uploaded to, like, we can put it on SoundCloud, we can put it on YouTube, we can try and put it on Spotify. I don't know if that would really work, but we'll see. But by then, on the Friday when we plan to upload it, that game will have changed from the Epic Game Store. So we have no idea what it will be when this goes live on those platforms. But live streaming it right now, the game is Overcooked. And it is a fun little party game. I think it's up to 4 people. And yeah, you run around preparing food for one another. Each person kind of should work their own station. And usually everything crashes and burns. But
it looks chaos, actually. I haven't played it yet, but I looked at the videos and it looks like chaos.
Yeah.
Fun chaos, though.
Fun chaos. Everything's fun chaos when you do it with friends like this. I'm actually debating in post maybe just going and saying, this week's free game on the Epic Game Store is Ark Survival Evolved. And then just dub over it. Dub over the game. I don't know. That'll be weird. It might work. But yeah, no, so go back to WoW real quick. Obviously, as I said, the NA reset will be in a couple of hours, so the information I can give about, say, for instance, the corruption system that's currently in the game, that changes with these mini assaults that go on. And those change. You have one on the reset, and then there's one kind of weekend time, then it's back on reset again. So, yeah, in 2 hours' time, that reset will happen. We'll know what tomorrow's corruptions will be for the EU, but for now, we don't know that. But in regards to that, apparently Blizzard are hotfixing the corruption vendors' rotation, just to make that difficult. Why did you turn on Bixby? Go away. Silly Bixby. Avoidance 3. Oof, very good corruption right there. So it's speculated that Expedient 3, which is a really good haste stat stick, really useful for most people. For me, I'm going to play a Destruction Warlock now, so Expedient is really good for me, and Expedient 3 is amazing. That is potentially going to be coming back to us next reset. So not this reset, but next reset, which is a lot sooner than anyone expected it to. But we'll see whether or not that's true. Obviously, Chris has no idea what I'm talking about.
Absolutely zero idea.
Zero idea,
Never got that far in the game, really, did I?
Nah, not really. But that's fine. For anyone that's watching that maybe is at that level, then we know potentially Expedient 3 will be returning in a week's time. We'll see anyway. We shall see. And if we push this podcast back a couple of hours, or maybe actually even an hour and a half, so like maybe halfway through the show I can update, then we will know what is going on next week. But for now, we haven't a clue, but we shall see. We shall see.
So as a person who hasn't kept up to date, but like World of Warcraft still has a special place in my heart, and you know, I still get urges to play it in just my own little like sort of player versus environment type of way or whatever. Right. So Shadowlands is the next one, yeah?
Yeah, Shadowlands is the next one.
When's that due out then? Is it like November or something, or what's?
We don't know. There was a live stream planned for today, actually, but due to the Black Lives Matter movement and things like that, that was pushed. It was postponed. So we don't know when that's coming, but it's speculated that live stream was actually going to announce the Shadowlands release, which would have been great. Currently, it's predicted to be in the final quarter of the year, though. It is still coming out this year, but it's going to be the final quarter. So the last couple of expansions have come out around August, September time. which, I mean, that's fine. It's a nice birthday treat for me, at least. But yeah, this time around, we've tried to work it out based on when the alpha was released, which I can't actually remember off the top of my head now. But we worked out as we reckon that Shadowlands will be coming out October, November. I personally think November, but yeah, we will hopefully be finding out whenever that live stream happens again. So we shall see.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Like, everything's being pushed back at the moment, isn't it? So it's hard to judge anyway, isn't it? But like this year, it's like pretty much impossible to judge, really, isn't it? Because nobody knows what's happening.
No, I mean, everything's getting cancelled. Like it took a while, but BlizzCon did get cancelled in the end, which makes sense. There are still some events going on that haven't been cancelled just yet. Like my friend Lisa talks about how she had tickets to go see some gig with her family in some far away land down south. God only knows what they do down there, but yeah, as to my knowledge anyway, the last time she brought that one up anyway, that's not been cancelled yet, which is kind of a worrying thing. But there you go. That's COVID for you. That's the new thing we have to live with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit of a pain.
So in terms of like WoW and stuff, so just like keep us up to date. Like what do you know so far? Like, because I'm quite like, I'll probably end up getting back into it now. Like, now that we're discussing it, right, I'm gonna fucking end up pre-purchasing the game or something now, because like, you know what it's like when you haven't played in a while and you're like, oh god, I had so much fun playing that. Like, I used to love that. Like, and you just want to go back on it. But the thing with WoW is obviously you've got to pay again and get the latest expansion, and you end up straight back into that hole, don't you? At least I do sometimes. For a
little bit. I mean, they have changed it so that when it comes to buying the expansion or even game time, you can do it with in-game gold. So if you can make that gold, you don't have to pay a damn thing. Like, I've bought Shadowlands Epic Edition. I didn't pay anything. Besides my original subscription price, I've not paid anything other than in-game gold.
So presumably you would have to pay for at least a month
to buy Call of Duty Modern Warfare as well, because I really wanted that.
I remember you mentioning that. Yeah, that's good. It's good that you can do that, really, isn't it? So you can buy anything if it's for, like, on that the whatever it's called now, the Battle.net, the Blizzard app thing. Yeah,
and no Longboy. So, yes, I know, Eddie. Don't rub that in. There's a mountain WoW that everyone calls a Longboy. It's actually called a Brutosaur, which is essentially a Brachiosaurus, I think, the long neck dinosaur, and it comes with an auction house vendor on it, which is amazing, and it costs 5 million gold.
Nice.
Me buying the Epic Edition Shadowlands didn't cost even half of 5 million gold.
Did it not? That's crazy. No, 5 million.
That's the thing that I can't wrap my head around. 5 million gold for the Longboy, or 5 million gold converted to a Battle.net balance, which lets you basically buy everything on the Blizzard store. Like, Diablo 3.
So how much does that work out at then? Like £80 or £100 or like what is
a WoW token is... Well, the WoW token prices fluctuate. Last I checked, there's 166k for a WoW token, which gives you a tenner. So 1.6 million, for instance, that's £100? No. Yeah. £100, I think. Am I going crazy? Is that maths right? I think that is right.
Engine says he's going to calc, so, you know.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Let the viewers do the hard work. Yeah. We don't need to do research.
Eddie can. That's Eddie, by the way. He can do the hard work.
Eddie.
But yeah, no. It's so. If I am doing that right, anyway. I mean, 1.6 million gold is £100 still. A WoW token in real life is €20. You think? Yeah, but if you were straight up buying one, if you were buying one with real money, yeah. Like the comparison is like, I think to buy a WoW token with real money, it's £17. To buy it with gold to convert into a balance, it's a tenner that you get. So you do lose money there, but at the same time, you're also paying it with gold. Yeah. Not
so how
real
long did
money.
it take you to get? How long did it take you to get like 1 million gold in the game or whatever? Like, how long does that take you?
It depends what you do. In Legion, we had these mission tables that you could send followers out on to get gold and blah blah blah. I ended Legion with 1 million gold, but obviously at that time there was no mention of Shadowlands, and throughout time that 1 million gold very much went away. Only in this last patch during the new raid Ny'alotha, well, I guess it's an old raid now, because I was in a guild that pushed for cutting edge, we were world 150, which is pretty fucking good. Not quite top 100, so we're not the best, but that's fine. We pushed for that, which meant I was able to join a boosting community to then run heroic clears and heroic end boss to give people the ahead of the curve achievement, which gives you a mount this time around. I was doing that a bunch for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, which got me the money because people pay the gold to do that. I think at the time it was maybe 400k people would pay to get the last 2 bosses on heroic, for instance, which is a lot.
Right.
But for next to no effort on your part, that also gets you the ahead of the curve feat of strength, which to most people is worth it. And in the case of most of the end tier raids, you also get the mount, which in this case was a very nice Void Dragon thing, which I love it. Yeah, so in my case, I did the boosting of heroic Ny'alotha. That got me Shadowlands Epic Edition, and it's also paid for a race change for my main, because I switched from a Blood Elf to a Volpera, because I love foxes. No, I'm not a furry. I just love foxes. Eddie's going to come right out with with furries there. What's the maths? What's the maths going on real quick? A token is around 167k, so the long boy is 598 euros and 80 cents. Fucking hell.
That's actually crazy, like, as an outsider, for some, like, I'm just thinking about it out loud, and I could be completely wrong here. But if you're in a country where, you know, you've got access to your PC and stuff, and you do game and whatever else, right? But, like, minimum wage is shit.
Yeah.
That, like, you could join the EU server or whatever and potentially just bash WoW and... Exactly, yeah. Like, you could,
if you're
you
in a
could
third
earn a
world country,
living
that's
off
a higher
WoW.
cost of living, yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
without streaming, without building up a fan base or anything, presuming that the tokens stay at a sort of at a high rate, you could literally just earn your living like playing WoW not 24/7, but you know, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day.
It's a really weird thing to imagine. Like, if you could convert this gold into real money, not just a BattleNet, not just a gift card, essentially, then yeah, you could just pay for life playing games. Which, I mean, that's kind of what some people do anyway when they get popular enough. But it's bizarre.
But it's like when you say if you get popular enough, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like, most people don't get popular enough to earn a living from things. But like that, like you say, if you could convert it, you wouldn't need the popular. You could just sit and not talk to anyone for months and earn money from it. You know what I mean? Like, feed your gaming addiction. So it's it's a lot of money, isn't it? For it, really,
it sucks a bit more for NA. I'm just having a look there. The WoW token just now is 169.5k in the EU, but in North America it's 125.1. So they don't get quite as much bang for their buck, but that's fine. Everything's cheaper in America anyway, so what does it matter? It's also very silly. Oh, actually, no. Wait. No, that's the wrong way around. We don't get as much bang for our buck. Sorry, I'm getting that very wrong. Because we have to pay more for a WoW token. They have to pay... It's fucking typical America. They pay less than we do. God damn. Why? Oh, God.
Move to the US servers. I used to play on the US. I never used to play on the EU. The only time I played on EU was when I played with you. So I've got like 2 accounts.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be tempting if I didn't know anyone on the EU and I knew people on NA, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone in NA.
See, it was the opposite for me. I only knew you on EU, and every other person I knew was on the US one. So, like, everyone from Gaming Heavens back in the day, they were all on the US. So,
bloody hell.
What's Engine saying, or Eddie or whatever?
Consider this: if you farmed Skyreach, which is a dungeon from a couple of expansions ago, on one character for 8 hours a day, as if it was a full-time job, 7 days a week, that's bit more than a full-time job there. 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's insane. 30 days a month at that. That's 6.72 million raw gold in a month.
So you would end up with more money than you could spend on the store ever.
Yeah. But that'd also give you the money to buy a longboy, which is the important thing.
Yeah, that is the important thing in life. That's what everybody wants.
Yeah, everyone wants a longboy. There's even a longboy in Apex Legends. It's not actually a longboy, it's called a longbow, and it's a sniper rifle. But I call it a longboy because I like it. I like my snipers. Oh, man. I definitely wish I had the patience to go into WoW and try and make money. Like, running Skyreach, that's easy. Do I do it? Hell no. It's a bit silly. It's a bit silly.
Poor Eddie.
Eddie wants a long boy as well.
Short boy.
Short, though. Oof. Let's not height shame. Let's not height shame anyone. You tried doing Skyreach, it's annoying. No, that's fair. No. Dear.
I'm a short boy, height wise. Short. I'm 5'6" or 7 or something. I measured myself the other day, actually, right? Because we were discussing this in one of the Discord servers. Okay, and I measured myself at 5'7", but I always thought I was 5'8". So I've gained an inch. And everyone knows the extra inch is important.
It's not the size, it's how you use it, Chris.
Yeah. Actually, the other thing as well, I think it was like, I'm 5 foot, like 8 or 9 inches or something, but that works out at like 5'7", because obviously it's point of a foot, isn't it, rather than...
Yeah.
Is that right?
Wait, so hang on, say that again?
So, like, how many inches are in a foot?
12.
Yeah, so, like, when you say 5 foot, do people normally say, like, 5... I'm being fucking stupid here now.
We'd say something like 5'11", kind of thing.
Yeah.
In my case,
so
I'd say
5'8".
5'8".
5 foot 11 inches, or is that 5 point... It's 5 foot 11 inches, yeah?
5'11 inches, yeah.
Alright, so I'm 5'9", then
no,
I think it's not 5.
That would be silly, Eddie.
So I'm a little bit taller than I was saying.
Fair enough. I think I've always operated under saying that I'm 5'8", which, I mean, is a perfectly average height. But for me, it's kind of annoying when literally everyone around me is taller. Dan is 6 foot or 6 something. I don't fucking know. My friend Graham is 6 foot something. My friend Callum is 6 foot something. My brother and my dad are taller than me. I don't think they're quite 6 foot, but like, why am I 5'8"? I hate it.
Dan's only 6 foot because he wears high heels all the time.
Who? Oh, Dan, right. Yeah.
Dan, yeah.
That's true. That is true.
It started off just a Saturday night thing, didn't it? But then now he doesn't take them off, so...
Yeah. He's a bit weird, that one. It's probably a good thing he's not here, actually. It's probably a good thing. Who knows? But anyway, so we went on a very big tangent there. So you're asking about what's coming in Shadowlands, which there is a lot. There's a lot coming in Shadowlands. First and foremost, there is going to be a level squish. So while it would make sense that you just half it, so currently our maximum level is 120, it would make sense to just half it, you go down to 60. But no, we're going down to 50. And instead, the Shadowlands content will take us from 50 to 60, which, okay. Longevity-wise, sure, it kind of makes sense. So yeah, that first and foremost, there's that. But also, the leveling system's been changed, so you've not really played it recently. I can't remember when they added this, actually. It was sometime during this expansion. Leveling zones, are we going to all-nighter level? We'll see. We shall see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. Last when BFA came out, I did stream pretty much through the night. I don't think I got to max level at the time though, but I can't remember where I got to. Yeah, so currently the way the game works is it used to be a case of you do 1 to 10 in one area, but due to how you got the experience, you'd hit that 10 much sooner than you should, so then you'd already move on without finishing the story. But now everything scales. So 1 to 60, you could, if it were possible, you could do it all in a single zone. So you get to see the entire story in that vanilla zone. And then Burning Crusade, and Northrend, you could pick either or. But then in those you do the 60 to 80 level, which perfectly doable, absolutely fine, quite good actually. And then Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria, that's 80 to 90, and then it's back to Warlords 90 to 100, Legion 100 to 110, and then BFA 110 to 120. But what they're going to do is you just pick an expansion essentially, and you level up to 50 in that and only that, which is pretty good. Not sure how it's going to work in the long term, because say for instance you picked Cataclysm, which only had 5 zones. You only leveled 5 levels at the time. How are they? I guess you get 10 level per zone instead. It's a bit. Actually, no. I think it'll be 8 levels. I think you do 1 to 10. Then
Wait,
you pick where you're going.
So you can just start. You can just start from level 1, brand new character.
Then you get to level 10, and then you pick an area to go to. Yeah.
Right.
I think
that's pretty weird.
Brand new accounts, you have to play through BFA. So you do 1 to 10 in a new starting area called Exile's Reach, I think it is, which kind of introduces you to all the different aspects like dungeons and shit. And then 10 to 50, you go through Battle for Azeroth. So I'm not too sure how the level scaling is going to work. It's supposed to feel more rewarding, but at the same time, Battle for Azeroth, there's 6 zones, but they're split. 3 are for the Horde, 3 are for the Alliance. You don't really see the other sides until you're max level, really.
Right.
So you have 3 levels to do 40 levels in. 3 zones to do 40 levels in. I don't. That's what I'm saying, Dart. I've got no idea how they're planning to scale this. 10 to 50 in 3 zones of BFA. It doesn't really make sense. So I'm not sure how that's supposed to work.
So if you wanted to... So you just can't get to them old starting zones anymore?
I'm not sure how it works. I think not. You can go back. You can obviously go back by yourself. But I'm just not sure how it works. I guess it's probably a case of you can just go there if you want to, and everything will have scaled up to you. So if you're level 20...
So you would do the old starter quests, you could do them at level 30. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you can certainly do that if you want to.
Can you not do them at level 1, then you have to go to this Battle for Azeroth?
No, so it's 1 to 10, you start in Exile's Reach, which is something entirely new. For new players, that is. Veteran players, quote unquote, like someone like myself anyway, I could start in Exile's Reach if I wanted, or I could start in the original starting zones. Like, just you get to pick what you want. But you can always go back and then level wherever you wanted in the first place. But I think 1 to 10 is probably not going to help much, because it's probably going to be a case of once you're past 10, you're not going to get much reward for doing that at a higher level.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense at all. There's not nearly enough to do in BFA to level 40 levels. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I'm not entirely sure how it's supposed to work. It may be
It's probably interesting for somebody like me who hasn't played Battle for Azeroth and barely played like Legion and things, you know what I mean? Like, it's probably quite interesting for me if I can go back and start fresh but do those zones scaling. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No,
it's probably like...
It'd be hugely beneficial, I feel. Like, for me, Outland, I'm kind of over, and same with Northrend, really. Because I leveled so many characters in the past, leveling through Outland, until they recently changed it so that things scale differently, it would be a case of, I could essentially do the entire leveling process in one zone. It would just be really crap, because all I ever see is that one zone. It was boring. And the same would kind of apply to Northrend as well, where I only do it in one zone. It's just, and then you're gone. It's very boring. But yeah, I think it would be hugely beneficial. It especially if it's the case of, say you didn't experience the story properly way back when. Like I say, originally it was a case of you go to a zone where it's 30 to 35, but you're done before you're even a quarter of the way. For instance, you already move on to the new zone. You've missed that entire story. So if you wanted to instead, you can then just level through the entire continent even. 10 to 40. You get to see basically everything, I imagine. I think currently the record for leveling a new character is something like 40 hours. Or something like... No. Was it 40 hours? Or maybe it was less than that, actually. I can't remember. I'm sure I could find it. But it will certainly be quite good for some people who never got to see the full story of some areas. Get to see that story. Like, I've seen the full story of Cataclysm, Pandaria, Warlords, Legion, and BFA. I didn't really see the entire story of even Vanilla, to be honest. Burning Crusade or The Wrath of the Lich King. It is different, Lisa. But yeah, I can always go back and now just level through it myself. No, I want to see if I can find this guy. It'll be PTR news, I think. Oh dear, I don't know where I'm looking now. Beta, sure, that should probably tell us. So what's Dart saying? What are they going to do with leveling through Legion then? They need to redo the quests for doing the neck and stuff for the garrison and the garrison things. I don't know. I don't honestly know. I feel like it'll be easier to convert 10 levels to 40. So a moment ago I made a face because it just occurred to me what maybe is going to be the case. Because we only have 3 zones. I'm just going to quickly pop on the display here. We only have 3 zones currently, so in BFA to level through. So in the case of the Horde character, you level through either Zuldazar, Vol'dun, or Nazmir. There is technically a 4th thing, which is the War Campaign. So I'm wondering if perhaps in Shadowlands, leveling through BFA is going to include the War Campaign as like 10 more levels. Because you can do 3 initial quests for the War Campaign, setting up your base on the other territory, the Alliance side. And then there's a whole load of other quests after that once you're max level. So I'm wondering, maybe you get to do the War Campaign for the final 10 levels of BFA. So you do 10 per zone, then 10 for that War Campaign. I'm kind of curious if that will be the case or not. We'll see. Time will tell. But for now, we've got absolutely no idea. I'm sure it should be here, but I don't... Oh, wait, no, that is it. Leveling 10 to 50 in under 4 hours. Okay, I was way off with 40 hours. Oh, dear. 4 hours in Warlords of Draenor. So, if you really pushed in under 4 hours, you could get to level 50 and start Shadowlands. 3 hours, 37 minutes, apparently.
How in the world can you do it in 4 hours? Explain that to us, right? It's like...
I assume it's probably mentioned in here. To be honest, I have been thinking for a while, I think Warlords is probably the best place to do it. Because you can level through Warlords. You can level from 90 to 100. Actually, you can go further than 100 in Warlords in under 2 hours. If you really wanted to. Like, you have XP potions. So there's one which you can buy currently in BFA content, which gives you a 10% XP boost. And in your garrison in Warlords, there's also another potion which you can buy for another, I think, 10 or 20% XP. As well as heirlooms, and then if you can have rested XP, you can have rested XP, which would double it even more. But yeah, in 2 hours, you can level from 90-ish to 100, and I think 104 is the furthest I went for before I carried on, because the XP was no longer really worth it. But you basically do it right now, you do it by doing the bonus objectives, because there's bonuses and collecting treasures, sorry. You get XP for picking up treasures all over the zones, and there are a few bonus objectives too that just give you a huge chunk of XP, coupled with all these other XP buffs. Like, it's a lot. It does work out, but how it would work 10 to 40, I don't know. I don't honestly know. I don't know if he's maybe doing that. Does it actually say? I don't know. I don't think he says anything about doing bonus objectives. Maybe he's just questing, which would be impressive, but I don't believe that.
Very impressive if he's just questing.
There is a video, but I don't really want to play it.
Even just the walking time when you're questing can add up to a decent chunk, at least when I used to play. Yeah. Maybe I'm just terrible and kept walking in the direction or something.
There's always that potential. There is always that potential. They are Blizzard's making some ease of access kind of features throughout the game. Like there's going to be quest objectives, quest markers, Like, when you play a game like, I don't know, Skyrim, let's say. Maybe not Skyrim actually, but you'd maybe see a little icon on your map far from the distance, so it kind of gives you an idea of where this place is you have to go to. They're going to be adding that to WoW. I don't know if it's going to be there for the old content, but it will be there for the new stuff. Yeah, I imagine they will add it to everything. I can't see it. Okay, let's play this then. What's he doing? What's he doing? Apparently getting up. No, that's the intro quest. That makes sense. He does seem to be doing bonus objectives. Yeah, he's doing the bonus objectives. He's not questing. So that does make sense. I wonder how many levels that gets you in one go then. I can't really see what his level is, but... Oh no, he is questing. Oh god, he is questing. Oh wow, that's interesting. Alright, I take it back. He is absolutely questing. I thought he was just doing bonus objectives. I wasn't paying any attention to it the right here, where his quest objectives are. Bloody hell.
Impressive.
Yeah. I feel like that's not supposed to work like that, but we'll see. We shall see. He probably is weaving in the bonus objectives as he goes, to be fair. Like, they are absolutely worth doing. He's not using Azeroth Autopilot, though, which automatically just accepts things for him. But, okay, that's fair enough. So, hey, the more we know. The more we know. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else there is coming in Shadowlands. Obviously, we've got new zones. There's a new... weekly grind called Torghast, which is a roguelike dungeon crawl thing. Supposedly it has no real ending, so you can do it as long as you want, and there's no time limits either. There was one added briefly, but then Blizzard listened to people for once and took it out, so that's great. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be quite fun, that one. I don't know what else there is though. They're adding covenants for each of the zones, so you can join a covenant. So you've got these fairy guys, you've got vampires, you've got goody goody two shoes, and you've got some not so goody goody two shoes. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping with those covenants, because they give you different abilities, I'm hoping it really doesn't impact the gameplay too much. Like, it kind of sucks. You play your character, you want to play how you want. Maybe you want to go down the fairy route, like I know Lisa will want to go down the fairy route, but perhaps the vampires are actually her best covenant to join. Having the option to pick what you want for cosmetic purposes or pick what you have to for playing well purposes, it's kind of crap. It is kind of crap, and I hope that it's not going to impact the game that way. But it probably will. It probably will. But there you go. So there's a lot coming in Shadowlands. There's a lot changing in Shadowlands. And hopefully we'll find out when it's actually coming out. But right now, we've got no idea. I don't think they have said anything about when they're going to do the live stream again, but it was planned for today.
I haven't seen anything on it, like myself, of the live stream recently. I like all the pages and stuff still, you know, like I never unliked them or anything, so...
Like I say, it was just postponed anyway. They were hopefully going to do it, but... Alexa, stop. Alexa,
I thought you had a lady friend in with you there. I was like,
no, I don't have a lady friend. Dan has a lady friend.
Kept that one a secret.
No, I don't know how on earth I woke her up. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. But yeah.
Well, speaking of events and things, obviously the PS5 reveal event's rescheduled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, June 11th, so Thursday.
So that's when it was, or it's been rescheduled to then?
I think it was meant to be on the 4th of June, so it's going to be on the 11th.
Oh, I see. Reveal event
so
rescheduled.
it'll be on
June
Twitch
11th.
and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But
don't
that
know
should
how
be exciting. That's something to look forward to. I mean, I'm not a console gamer.
It should be exciting, but honestly, look, like, just from the controller alone, I'm not sure I'm looking forward to it. It looks weird.
I like the controller, so we disagree on that.
Oh no, we're disagreeing. How could we? I mean, this particular picture on IGN's website, it's all black, which is fine. That kind of keeps up it with how they've always been. But the thumbnail for this page, it's white and black. It looks like they've tried to combine Xbox or even Nintendo and PlayStation into one. I don't know.
So what I would say with that is, like, I remember when I first got my like original PlayStation, that was like a white, but it was obviously like that off-white, wasn't it? It was like grey more than white. But so they have had white controllers back in like the original PlayStation. It's only the two, like, well, I'm saying only 2, 3, and 4 that have primarily had black. I like it though, and I don't really care whether it's white. I'd always prefer a black controller, but in terms of like colour doesn't make too much of a difference, but the shape of it I'm much more fond of, because I always preferred the Xbox controller. Like, it fits better in your hands than what the PlayStation ones do.
PlayStation was always kind of like straight lines, and yeah, I get what you mean.
I've only got small hands, and even though my hands are small, they still prefer the sort of bigger Xbox controller to like the smaller Sony ones. So I think it's a step in the right direction. I think it looks really nice. It looks like futuristic, kind of like, it kind of reminds us of the SpaceX, you know, the rocket that went up the other day, where it was all sleek. And
yeah, it does actually a bit, doesn't it?
It does to me, yeah. Like the seats and stuff, yeah, it does to me. I think it looks really nice.
I'm just kind of noticing, like, I'm holding my Xbox One controller just now because I use that on PC. I don't have an Xbox One, sadly, but it's very samey. It's very samey to the PlayStation One, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, button layouts aside, like, the curves along the hands, like, I don't know, it's the PlayStation One seems to have, like, longer, I don't know what you'd call these, grips, I guess.
Yeah.
It seems to have longer ones. I don't know. I mean, in fairness, the length doesn't exactly matter, because, I mean, it does fit quite nice in your hand, the Xbox One, but I don't know, I feel like...
So basically what Simon's saying is the length doesn't really matter as long as it fits nicely in your hand.
I did literally say earlier, it's not the size, it's how you use it. So, there you go, Chris. There you go.
Well, at least you're giving a persistent message.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, if we're just getting into controllers rather than PS5 and that, I prefer the Xbox joystick position, whatever you would call it, the you know what I'm talking about,
yeah,
the buttons.
The thumbsticks.
Thumbsticks, yeah, I prefer it on the Xbox. It's much more natural, I think.
Yeah, I kind of get you. Oh, calm down, something fell over. I kind of get you
For
there.
me, anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I just feel like it's a lot more natural. But then I don't have an Xbox One. I went with a PS4, and you get used to it. You know what I mean? Like you spend a couple of games, and suddenly you're like, oh, it just feels natural again. You know, it's kind of like muscle memory, isn't it? So, is that like the new Xbox controller, is it, or is that the Xbox One? Or because I'm not familiar with it.
That's Xbox One.
Right.
It may be a slightly older version of it, but yeah, Xbox One next to PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can see what I mean about the similarities. PlayStation's one's actually kind of more curved on the outside, but you can see what I mean about how the PlayStation kind of looks taller.
I think I really like the PlayStation 5 controller, I'm not going to lie. I think it looks better. It looks better than the Xbox. I think it's going to feel better.
You know, it's not taller. It's purely a case of that middle section on the Xbox One has just been squished.
Right.
That's purely what it is.
Yeah, I think it looks really nice, me. And again, I don't care whether the controller's white or black. It's in your hand. Like, I don't really care about that side of things.
In fairness, you end up buying other color controllers anyway. Like, that's an Xbox One. It's white. That's not the default. The default is black. But with Xbox 360, that was white, and I had all the other colors. Like I don't think I had a green one actually, but I had a red one. No, I did have a green one. I had a Halo themed one, which was green, and I had black ones. I had red ones, and yeah, like you get them all in different colors anyway, so it doesn't really matter in the end. But I just found the PlayStation one a bit jarring because it has been black by default forever. PlayStation 1, yeah, it was kind of grey. I don't know about the original PlayStation. I never had one of those. I did get a PlayStation 1 eventually, but that was grey at the time. And yeah, I just found it a little bit jarring, really. Like I get what they're going for. Like you say, it's giving me some heavy Tesla vibes, essentially.
yeah, I think I totally agree.
It's kind of funny that actually. Yeah, I mean, I won't deny. Like I have a PC, so Xbox games are generally available for PC, which is fantastic. Yeah. Apart from when they're not, which sucks. But when it comes to PlayStation, I would love to have a PlayStation because there's so many exclusives for PlayStation. Like there's so many really nice games, like Zero Horizon Dawn. I think I really wanted to play that, but I have never been able to because I don't have a PlayStation. Dan actually has a copy of Red Dead Redemption 2 that was given to him by his stepdad because he helped Rockstar find their new offices. But it's for the PlayStation. We don't have a PlayStation.
Yeah.
We have a copy of Red Dead Redemption 2 since launch that we've never been able to do anything with. Which kind of sucks.
You should just put a deal in place. Dan buys a PlayStation, you buy an Xbox every time, and you sorted.
Nah.
You just stick it in the communal room. And
well, actually, no, I wouldn't buy an Xbox. I'd buy a Switch. I'd buy the Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. He could buy PlayStation. He'll buy Nintendo. I buy PlayStation. Either or, that would work. Like I said, there's no point having an Xbox anymore because everything's on PC. There are the odd game which won't be on PC for some odd reason. It makes no sense, but everything else is. So I would love to get a Switch because I really want to play the Pokemon games. But there you go. I don't care about Zelda. I really want a Switch as well. I don't care about Mario.
There's a lot of games I want to play on it. It looks like an amazing bit of kit.
It does. It looks really nice.
A lot of my friends, obviously I'm on like anime communities and stuff, and they've all got Switches, and I get really jealous when they're all, playing stuff together, whether it's Animal Crossing, Pokemon, like Zelda back then, it's people, it's when your friends are playing something, the urge to get it is just like tenfold, isn't it,
Yeah.
But at the moment, the cheapest Switch you can get in the UK, like unless you hit really lucky and some shop gets stock in, is like 500 quid. People like Amazon sellers and that for like exploiting the situation. But I guess they're in the right to some extent. But yeah, like I'm not paying 500 quid for a Switch. It's not worth it.
No. I mean CEX will sell Switches as well, but let's see. We have. I don't know what the difference is here, but they sell the Switch Lite for $190.
So the Lite is the one that you can't plug into your telly. It's just like a Game Boy. It's like
they have the full version of the Switch though for $330.
That's what I'm saying though. They were only £220 or something I'm sure.
Yeah, I do
Christmas
remember them being
they were selling them for
$200.
They were £200. So even that CEX or whatever is selling it for like 400 quid. It's a rip-off, but it's supply and demand, isn't it? So we haven't got a choice. But I'll just wait, mate. I'll just wait and
oh no, absolutely. Yeah, I'm in no rush. Granted, I can't afford to anyway, but yeah, I'm in no rush to get these things. As much as I'd love to have them, I'm in no rush. Like I think they're actually working on a Switch Pro as well.
God exactly. May as well wait. May as well wait.
Yeah. But there you go. There's a lot of things that I'm missing out on, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, shit happens.
Well, Nintendo stopped distributing them, didn't they? Or stopped making them, one of the two, like manufacturing them. And then, obviously with Corona, you've got hundreds of thousands of families who decided like, oh my god, my kids are going to be off school for 12, 14, 20 weeks. Like, how in the world am I going to keep them entertained? Let's go out and buy them Switches and, you know.
Yeah. It's, the fact that that's even a problem these days is a bit absurd, really. Like, I mean, I'm of the generation, like, you're of the generation where we grew up with technology, but at the same time, for the first 10 plus years of my life, I was still going outside and just messing around with friends. Like, granted, COVID, you can't do that, but surely most people will probably have gardens still. Like, if you have a family, there's a good chance you probably have a garden. Your kids can still just go play there. You don't need to have technology. It's a bit silly.
I like to think in my own head, and obviously I am biased about my own childhood and the generation that I grew up in and stuff, but I feel like we had a really good balance of the two. So like I've got lots of memories of going up to the woods, and I used to like get dressed up in me like camo and, you know, build dens, and like one of my mates' dads was a builder and he used to give her like carpet tiles and loads of wood and nails, and like, you know,
that sounds we used
amazing.
To build
like tree houses and stuff. And then at the same time, I used to run like clubs in the street. I used to teach the kids in the street to rollerblade and stuff. And I was there with like my mum got us a clipboard, and I used to do a register as if I was like at school. And it was like, it sounds really daft thinking back in that, but I used to do all that sort of stuff. And then like, you know, you'd go on your bike and whatever else as a kid, play curbs, whatever you call it, where you're from and stuff. But I had that balance. But at the same time, if it was chucking it down with rain, like all 8 to 10 kids in my street would go into like my mate's conservatory. We would all be sat on the like sofas in the conservatory, and we would play Pokemon on our Game Boys, or we would play Pokemon cards or something, or Yu-Gi-Oh, or like collect football stickers and stuff, you know. But like, we had the technology where I could play Game Boy in the conservatory and sit inside. But generally speaking, it was when it was like chucking it down with rain, and not like, and it wasn't like, oh, like I must go on this game today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was no real obligation to be playing these games. Like, I mean, World of Warcraft, for instance, that came out 2004, 2005. Had I been playing that at the time, I mean, I wouldn't have been that fussed about it, really. I wouldn't be thinking, I need to grind this so I can raid or anything like that. Not that that's just how I am now, but back then, no, you just play whatever, you do whatever. It was a much better time. Like, my plan is, if I should ever have children, is to introduce them to technology kind of like how I was. So when they have the internet, they'll have dial-up, or at least I'll restrict it so it's like they have dial-up. So anytime a phone call's made, I'll just disconnect them real quick, and just stuff like that. Like, my plan is to try and make them appreciate it more, and therefore not take it quite so much for granted. Like, most of my generation, most of your generation too, probably, like even maybe you do it too, always looking down at their phones, which I'm not particularly fond of. Like, sure, I have my phone here, I will be looking at it every now and then, but if I go outside, I'm not looking at my phone. I'm just walking where I need to walk. But other people of my same generation, born in 92, they will be looking at their phones and can't pay attention to anything else, and I hate it so much. So my plan is to hopefully get my future kids, should I be so lucky, to kind of appreciate the world when they see it, as opposed to just be glued to a screen at all times.
The keys just have other distractions,
the fuck
isn't
you
it?
talking about? Yeah, no, but but yeah, I don't much care for this being glued to your screens. Like, by the time I do have kids, it's a very good possibility that maybe at that point the Google Glasses make a return in some kind of new version. We instead have contact lenses so you can see screens as we're literally walking. That'll absolutely kill a lot of people, but yeah, I don't know. When I was younger, yes, I know, the age of the dinosaurs, you had single player games and just play it through, be done with it. MMOs change everything. Yeah, I mean, I remember, aside from like Harry Potter games and Crash Bandicoot, original Crash Bandicoot, I granted I was introduced to it in Crash 3, The only multiplayer game I ever played was James Bond. I can't remember which one it was. It was on PlayStation or PlayStation 2 though, and I only ever played that with my brother. I played the campaign by myself, sure, but my brother and we would just play each other competitively, well, as competitively as you can anyway. Naturally, I'd always win. So you may be the big brother, but I'm the better gamer. But that was really it. And even then, we didn't play that very often. Just whenever he fancied it, really. Otherwise, I would actually just replay the single player and just see how well I could do it. I guess how I could do it on higher difficulties and things like that.
I think that's a big it's a big thing. Like when I was a kid, I remember playing single player on the PlayStation 2 or whatever. I might have spent 2-3 hours on it, you know, like, or even potentially longer some nights or whatever. But then you weren't on a constant video call or a constant voice call with your mates. It didn't exist unless you were going to be like on the telephone with the landline like pulled halfway from the kitchen into the, you know what I mean? Like, and part of the fun was like, I remember running around to my mate like Jack's house and being like, mate, I'm really stuck on this level. Like I remember like playing Wallace and Gromit together and stuff, right? Like one of the Wallace and Gromit games and that. I remember being like, I'm really stuck on here. Yeah, they were really good actually. There's one like set in a mine or something. I can't remember what it was like called, Project or something. And then there was the Curse of the Were-Rabbit, I guess, but that came out when I was a little bit older. Yeah, the Wallace and Gromit games were good. The first one was really good. But like Jak and Daxter and, you know, Ratchet and Clank, whatever, like them sort of games when I was younger, and I would run round, or he would run round to my house and just be like, mate, I'm really stuck on this, can you just pop round and just help us out, or how did you do this, you know, like you'd have to go and visit each other face to face, or like call each other on the telephone or whatever to be like, can you help us out, you know what I mean, or you would have to wait for like some like one of the PlayStation magazines to be released at the newsagents a month later for you to get some like walkthroughs written down on paper, you know. So like that whole aspect's changed, and like now if you want to see your mates, you don't have to go outside, do you? Like obviously,
no,
you can just.
I mean, look at us. You're in Newcastle. I'm in Glasgow. We're doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
We could be on webcam if needed, but yeah.
I mean, you kind of are on webcam because I've got the stream open.
True, and you're on past cam.
I'm on selfie cam.
Selfie. Well, I mean, that's not a selfie though. Someone else took that picture.
Mm-hmm. So fun fact of that picture was it was a month ago, and I just got sick of my like lockdown haircut or lack of haircut in lockdown, and I just said to like Wallace, I just said, "Fuck it, can you cut me hair, please?" And she cut it. And actually, considering she's never ever cut hair before, and we didn't have like proper scissors, or like we had like safety scissors like what you get at school, and like
you didn't get your hair cut with safety scissors, did you?
Yeah, I did, and I got
God.
Like my little beard trimmer, which ran out of battery halfway through. But that is the outcome, and it looked all right. And so she took that photo, and I was like, so I only took it to like have a look at my lockdown haircut, and I was like, actually, you know what, that looks okay. I'm quite impressed that you've cut my hair that well, considering the resources, and you've never cut it before. So she did a good job.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
And that's so that's the origin of the photo. So that is a lockdown special.
Wow. I very much need to get my hair cut. I'm currently wearing a buff that I've made into a headband thing, but just to try and keep my hair under control a bit. But my hair very much needs to get cut. But there you go. I've asked Dan if he can maybe take a razor to it, or clippers rather, but he never gets around to.
It's like a front ponytail, that, Simon.
Yeah. But yeah, I may just end up asking Susie, Dan's girlfriend, if she could just cut my hair, since it's Dan we're talking about. You can never get him to do anything. Like, he wanted to be a part of this podcast. originally when we tried to do it last week, but didn't because Blackout Tuesday, he was still asleep. I told him the night before, go to bed if we want to do this. He was still asleep, so never mind. And then today, Susie came back, so not that she was away. Shh. But yeah. There you go.
Sleep's good though. Sleep's good. At least he's doing something enjoyable. We're all a little bit jealous of Dan, aren't we?
I mean, I'm happy to wake up because then I get to have a bowl of Cocoa Pops.
Oh my god.
What? Dear. But no, so other things going on. Like, as I was scrolling down IGN earlier, I saw a post. I saw a couple things actually. Have you seen Space Force on Netflix?
You know what? It's hilarious. I'm looking at that article right now.
Yeah.
And I was about to mention the article to you because it was something I wanted to talk about. So I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I've heard a few people who've watched the first 2 episodes, but they couldn't really get into it. And someone that when I watched it, it was a case of I don't think I was fully paying attention, so I kind of just let it play. I paid attention every now and then, and yeah, I didn't mind it too much, but it also wasn't exactly groundbreaking. But I'm kind of curious.
I thought it was rushed in terms of the humour.
Maybe.
Because I didn't find it that funny, a lot of it, but I think it's that difference between American humour and British humour so often where we struggle sometimes with a lot of American shows, you know?
Maybe. I mean, at the same time, this is Steve Carell. He's a very funny guy. But I think something was absolutely missed. Because, I mean, the fact this is Space Force, when was it Trump came out about Space Force again? When was
probably
that?
3 years ago or something, was it? Because it was
it really that
quite
long ago?
close to when he... It was quite close, wasn't it, to when he got into office, like the year or something?
I don't know. Let me... No. Trump announced creation of Space Force 18th of June 2018. It was only 2 years ago. Not that long. So I guess I was just thinking because it kind of felt rushed from the announcement of this thing that's not going to really work in reality, not anytime soon anyway, to just making this TV show. I don't know. They tried. They certainly tried. It's not great though.
That's the thing with the media in general, though. It's all about how fast you can make stuff now rather than always about quality. I'm not talking about Netflix and stuff. Netflix makes some quality shows really good, and a lot of what you watch is amazing, and the quality is really good. But in general, like, there's a lot of things nowadays that come out, and it is just like, we need to get this out while it's still in the public's thoughts, while it's like, you know, like that, like the hashtag, while it's trending. Do you know what I mean? It's like not worry too much about the quality. If we don't get this out in the next 24 hours, like it's pointless putting it out, sort of thing. And I think like maybe potentially like it's that sort of logic with this show as well.
I do find the Space Force hilarious though. Not the TV show as much as just the reality of it. I mean, for instance, they revealed the logo for it, right? It looks an awful lot like the Star Trek logo.
Yeah, it does,
like,
yeah.
Okay, well done. Well done. Oh, dear.
Someone would have got paid a lot of money for that as well.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Someone was paid a fortune. You know what? It was probably a case of Trump having his input, because you know his mindset. He's thinking he's a really good on-screen... what's the word? On-screen personality, yeah, sure. He's probably thinking, well, I get all the ratings, because I mean, he does say he gets all the ratings. He knows best, so he's probably just thinking he's seen this Star Trek thing. He's president. He can get away with it. I kind of hope there's similarities enough that maybe the creators of Star Trek could just go sue them, because I would find that quite funny personally, but. We'll see.
I would find it funny as well. And in that article, I don't know if you've read it yet, but it says that Netflix has copyrighted the word Space Force in like most other countries outside of the US. So like Mexico, the EU.
Wow.
I mentioned somewhere else. I can't find it now. But where is it? So basically, everywhere outside the US, Netflix has copyrighted copyrighted it.
That's
and
amazing.
Apparently, the Air Force still, like the American Air Force, still hasn't copyrighted it in America yet. They've put an application in or something, but they haven't had it confirmed.
Wow.
So it's like even that side's a little like quite funny as well. The fact that this Netflix show now has the like stick the fingers up at the Air Force a bit or whatever, you know.
Yeah, this is oh god, it's gonna be a fun thing. I'm seeing more and more just bizarre things coming out. Like earlier, I saw a post on here about one of the characters from The Flash, whose actor has been fired due to some misogynistic tweets that he made. I couldn't find any. In fairness, I didn't look very hard, but that's one character. Sorry, one of the actors from The Flash. He plays Ralph Dibny.
Okay.
Elongated Man, I think it was, the stretchy guy. Anyway, so he's been fired for misogynist tweets, but then I just remembered as well, because I'm scrolling down at the bottom here, there's a thing about Batwoman, who, again, she, the actress who was playing Catwoman, it's Batwoman, sorry, Batwoman, she couldn't keep up with all the demands that were being made of her to, like, because for her particular job, it's very stressful, I guess. There's a lot to be done, and I think she's quit. So, right. For a show called Batwoman, about Batwoman, who is no longer being played by the... I don't know what the plan is, actually. I don't know what the plan is, because...
Just do Doctor Who and just keep using different actors.
They are planning to replace the actress. Okay, so they are... Oh, wait, no. They're not replacing the actress. They're replacing the character. They're having an entirely new character. So Kate Kane, who was the character, is not going to be in season 2. Bear in mind, this is season 2. Season 1 was too much for Ruby Rose to do. I don't know the DC world as well as, say, Dan would, so he'd probably be able to answer, but I very much wonder who on earth would take it up. Because, I don't know. I guess it would just have to be a whole new character? Like, one that
it's on
never
my
existed originally?
It's another thing that's on my backlog rather than...
What do you mean?
In terms of, like, watching season 1.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, no, I've been working through it for ages. Like, because obviously I totally just legitimately watch these shows. There are just episodes that are missing, which I can't find, I can't watch. I need to have another look, because maybe they'll crop up, but I haven't been able to keep up, so I'm behind on a lot of things, actually, by a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same, like, it's kind of weird. Considering lockdown, I have even less reason to be going out and about. There's even less reason to do anything. There's more reason to be staying in, playing games, and watching things, which I already was doing for the most part. But for some reason, I cannot get around to watching these shows. It's the same with catching up on podcasts that I listen to or watch. It's taken me forever to get around to doing any of that. Like, I watched the Funhouse podcast, Dude Soup, and I'm behind on that by God only knows how much. Maybe, like, hopefully not 100 episodes, but behind by too many still. It's going to take forever to catch up.
I'm the same. I thought, I'm still working through lockdown, so I haven't had the luxury of sort of getting extra time like a lot of people have, I guess, but I have had the luxury of still working and full pay and stuff, so I'm lucky in that regard. But I did expect to I felt like I would have a bit more time as well, you know, to like do what I want to do in terms of like just like not feeling the pressure to always be productive. I thought, like, because everyone else is at home and, you know, everyone's in the same boat, I thought I would be like, yeah, let's just chill out, watch some Netflix, sort of do what I want, like starting things like this podcast. And I guess we have started it now, so, you know,
Yeah.
Like that's a step forward.
A
But
rocky start, but we'll see how it goes.
yeah, but even like my Netflix watching and like movies that I've wanted to watch for a couple of years and I've managed to yet, it's like I've not actually achieved any of that. I've still just been like I feel like I've actually worked more during lockdown than what I worked, because I've had some like businesses approaches and stuff, you know, for like fixing laptops and things, and so I've ended up like doing more since the lockdown happened. So I've actually had less time. So it's been a bit strange for me, but I guess I'm like really lucky in that regard, really. So
maybe. Well, what is it that your job is right now? Because I'm sure you have told me before, but I can never remember.
I'm working on World Factions, the game, aren't I? So
right, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I thought you were doing something else for some reason.
Well, I'm doing that, and then I do some social media for a couple of businesses, right? And I've started fixing people's PCs again because I didn't advertise it or anything, but people, I just got a sudden demand for it with lockdown. I don't know whether people were like getting old PCs out the cupboards and going, God, I need to work, or I don't know, but so at the moment I've got a school all-in-one computer on my desk to the left of us, and I'm possibly putting an SSD and some more RAM in it, and so I'm just, it's just come out of nowhere really, but it's meant I'm a lot busier. So when I was hoping to play games and catch up on stuff has meant I haven't actually had as much time. So I had more time before the lockdown, which is a bit ironic.
So I'm kind of surprised because like fixing up computers or working on World Factions, like, are you having to be on a call while you're doing World Factions, for instance? Like, I know you, Dan, and Marty talk to one another while you're doing stuff, but like, do you always have to be? Because surely that just listening to something in the background would be kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I put on a podcast or whatever while I work, or music. Generally, I just have Spotify on or something.
Right.
I used to be able to like watch stuff and work to some extent, but it was always voluntary work. I find myself, I end up like, I can't multitask very well with like Netflix, so I'll end up either just spending half an hour watching an episode and then going, oh geez, I haven't done any work, or I'll find that like I'll be engrossed in my work and then I'll look and go, what the hell's happened on this episode? Who's she? Why is she? I thought she was dead. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't tend to watch much Netflix while I work. I tend to just have Spotify or a podcast on or something that I can listen to, you know? But no, me, Dan and Marty, we have a call once or twice a week for an hour or two at a time. And then if something's like broken or whatever, or we need some help, we'll call, you know, whenever. But we don't call all day or anything. We just work independently.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose actually listening to a podcast as you're coding, for instance, that maybe wouldn't be the best. Music's easier because there's not really anything to focus on, especially if there's no like vocals to it. Like I myself, I kind of like to sing along to my music, so maybe probably for the best I wasn't listening to anything in particular while working on something. Let's just listen to normal music. That'll probably be fine. But I don't know. I feel it is a weird one. Like you have all this, you have this illusion of all this spare time now. Anyway, at least time at home. Granted, you're working from home anyway, but you feel like you'd have all these opportunities to be catching up, but you really just don't in the end. It's a bit mad.
There's a sort of hidden pressure as well, like from society and from yourself, like specifically from yourself, like especially these people that are on lockdown and furloughed or not working, and they put pressure on themselves to sort of, I must get this done. I must I must get all the jobs around the house that I need to get done. I must keep the house clean. There's no excuse now for that to be the way it is. And they're still pushing themselves as much as if they were working to, or maybe not as much, but like they're still, you know, I'll start redecorating, and it's a job in itself, you know. There's everyone's putting pressure on themselves, I think, at the moment to
just keep him busy. Like I
keep
know
them busy. Yeah,
Dan's had these plans to be working on his bedroom forever. Like he and Susie have moved basically out of the bedroom into the living room instead, and now they're just sleeping there while doing up the bedroom because They're stripping. Well, they already had stripped walls and that. They've plastered it. They need to put things back up again. And then the last couple of weeks, Dan's been working on his door because for some reason, the previous owners of this place, they had covered up the doors. Like, these are quite nice doors. Like, I don't know what yours are like. But these have like kind of there's a bit of an indent and then kind of nice kind of stuff going on the edges of those indents on the door. Like, most doors will have it. Like, my front door used to have it, and like, all that stuff. Like, front doors would usually have it. But in this case, they just decided to put an entire wooden panel covering it entirely. Like, no idea why. But
That's
in the case
really strange. Yeah, getting rid of any
anything that looks nice. Yeah. But the problem is, well, the first door Dan took that cover off was absolutely fine. It's like to his little walk-in wardrobe type of thing. To his bedroom, however, it looks like someone actually did a Shining with it. Like the Here's Johnny thing. It was shredded, those parts. Yeah, so Dan's
is that why they've done it then? So one door someone's punched or whatever or axed through it or whatever.
Utterly destroyed. Yeah, that'll be absolutely why they did it. But why that happened in the first place, I'm kind of worried about. Like, these doors used to have locks on them, it looks like. So I'm wondering if maybe a kid was like locked in there, so they broke through to get to the kid because they wouldn't unlock it or couldn't unlock it. Like maybe they locked it and the key fell out or something like that. So they
are you
had to
worried
break
that like one day you're just going to be streaming World of Warcraft or whatever, Rocket League or something? We're all going to be watching on the stream on Twitch. And all we're going to see from behind you is somebody with an axe who's going to, like, you know, like, it's going to be that sort of, like, psycho, like, music in the background, and there's going to be blood everywhere, and we're going to be like, oh my god, I remember mentioning them on that podcast that he did last year, and...
Well, that's what Dan will do anyway. Dan will absolutely try and do that to me one day, but my camera no longer faces the door, so it faces the side, so the axe-wielding murder is going to come in from stage left.
Stage left, yeah.
There you go. Or is it stage right? I actually don't remember which way around it is. It might be stage
You're
right.
flipped, so...
No, I'm not flipped. This is my left hand. So it is my left, but I just can't remember if that's stage left or if that's stage right.
Right. I don't know, because the Xbox controller, when you held it up earlier, I remember looking at it and going like, that's the wrong way. Oh, okay, it's flipped. Like, so...
No. This is how it is.
The Xbox controller on the stream is the wrong way around. Like, if you hold it up again, or...
The one that I'm using? Like, this one? Right.
Yeah. So if you look on the stream, the, like, Y and B button is on the left-hand side on the stream.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
So it is flipped.
Huh. Okay, no, I'm with you. I am with you. Why is that? So yeah, that is my left hand, and it's also my left hand on the stream, but on the stream it looked like it's actually my right hand. Okay. I'm with you.
I think a lot of webcams by default flip, don't they? In cameras.
I think so. I
don't know what the logic is, but I might just be making this up. But is it because...
What if I flip myself around?
When we look in the mirror, it's flipped. So like it flips it so that it takes a photo of what you normally see.
Maybe.
Rather than it taking a photo of, like... Because it is strange sometimes when you flip a camera photo and you're like... That's not... Actually, I think it's the opposite. I think normally a camera takes it the other way. So I think when you look in the mirror, you see a different...
I'm actually going to flip
it flips
this back
it.
around.
I'm sure. I know what I'm talking about, and I'm positive I'm right. I'm probably not right. But I'm sure if you take a photo with your camera on the default settings or whatever, it's the opposite of what like you see in a mirror. And that's why sometimes when you look at photos of yourself, you're like... that like it looks different to what you're used to. You're seeing yourself when you brush your teeth in the morning and, you know, try on a shirt and whatever.
I guess.
Do your hair. So yeah,
I'm struggling a little bit to follow you here, but I guess maybe. I know why I have it this way around though. It's because right now, it used to be a case of my camera was on the right, so it'd be looking at me like where I'm currently looking now, and looking at my screen. The camera would kind of look at me looking that's kind of similar direction. So it would be a case of on the stream, I'm looking at my screen, but it also looks like I'm looking at what I'm streaming at the same time. It looks like I'm...
rather than just looking at like the sidebar.
Yeah, rather than looking off to the side. So like if I go look on the other side, looking at the chat, I am looking off stream very obviously. And I think I have ordered a thread adapter, so I've got another one of my old microphone arms. I'm thinking I'm gonna pop the webcam on that and then sit it between my monitors, maybe see what that's like.
Nice.
We'll see anyway. We'll see what it's like. But I don't know. I'm gonna be unsure of what the hell to do with which way I'm looking. I guess I could probably keep it the same way actually. So if I'm looking I'll be looking off to the right. Which, yeah, I'd still be looking at my gameplay. So yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be interesting to work out anyway. Something for future me to worry about, not just now anyway.
Not just now.
But yeah, just quickly going back to COVID, because I saw this when I woke up this morning. Plan dropped for all primary school pupils to go back to school.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, this is a pointless thing to have done anyway, to have been trying to do, because the kids would have gone back to school for maybe a month, and then they would have broken up for summer. What was the point? Like, I get that some essential workers, they have to do their essential work. No one can be at home to look after the kids. I get that might be why. But at the same time, these are children. They see their friends. They want to say hi to their friends. They contract COVID. They spread COVID. They bring it back to your friends and bring it back to their family, who then can spread it further. Bojo is expecting a second outbreak, right? Sending kids back to school is guaranteed to have a second outbreak. And with all the protests going on already, that second outbreak is probably coming much sooner than expected.
It's a strange one, because obviously you've mentioned the key workers and essential workers, and they've still got kids in school because they're allowed to some extent.
Yeah.
And I walked past a school the other day. I was just on a walk because, you know, it's good to get out and exercise during these lockdowns and stuff. It's good to get your hour of spreading it about and stuff, you know.
I definitely do that.
Yeah. So I was walking past one of the local primary schools here, and all the kids were in the sort of like playground in the grass area, and no social distancing. Like there must have been, I think there was only about 10 kids in the yard, but they were all within a meter of each other.
That's the thing. They're children. You cannot expect them to social distance because they are children.
They were still playing tag, hide and seek, you know, like they were still doing everything that we did at school and that, like, and that's the thing, like, you can't make them social, like, I guess you could if you're doing an activity that is distance, like catch or something, you know, like, off, like, you could play rounders or something, I guess. I don't know, like, there's probably stuff you can do, but they weren't, and that's the point at hand, is, like, I walked past and I was like, well, none of them teachers or kids are social distancing in that yard, so...
Yeah.
But that's the only experience I've got. The other primary school next to us is actually shut completely, I think. I don't think there's any kids in it.
Well, I don't know what's going on with... Like, I live in a large block of flats. On the other side of me, like, where I'm looking right now, apart from, like, if there wasn't the other side of the block of flats there is a school there. I don't know what's going on there. Like... I think I've heard kids like screaming around like kind of lunchtime where they would be out on their breaks, but that doesn't happen very often, so I'm not entirely sure if they are still operating or not. I don't know. In my mind, it's probably better that they don't. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's essential workers' kids aside, like that's a whole other issue. But like in my head, when it was first announced that they're going to be bringing opening schools back up, it was a case of like they're opening up these schools. But sitting in Parliament, you have all these adults who run the country social distancing in Parliament, and they want to open up schools. Like
they weren't even in Parliament at the time.
Well, some of them were, I think, because they some of them conference in as well. But I think they were in. But like, if you are not yourself, you the people running the country are not yourself. Safe, like you are still social distancing, why on earth would you risk children's lives? Mm-hmm. Like it's ridiculous. It's a bit like in America that there's a mass shooting basically every day. Like, maybe that's not the case anymore. We've certainly not heard anything. So currently, COVID is doing some good for America. At the same time, there's a lot of fucking deaths, so maybe a mass shooting a day is better. But, like, school shootings, children being killed, nothing being done about it. Their solution to guns is more guns. Like, these are children. I just don't get it. They are risking lives of children to protect their right to bear arms. It's beyond me. It's really beyond me. Like,
a lot of things about America are confusing to us.
Oh, it's the thing is, apparently it's not just America that will risk children's lives, though. That's the thing. Even in the UK, like, I was kind of like the Black Lives Matter movement going on. That you mainly hear about the deaths, the murders in America by police. You don't really hear much about what happens in the UK, because in your head you're not really thinking there is anything going on in the UK. But there absolutely is. Maybe not shootings, but things do happen. Like, I saw the other day there was a post about a guy who had multiple police on top of him, and he too suffocated. He was unable to breathe, so he died. And of course, he was black as well. I had no idea.
Which video was that? Was that the one where his wife was screaming?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
No?
it was just a picture I saw. It wasn't a video,
Oh,
but
okay.
it was just. I mean, you couldn't even see the guy. There was just maybe up to 10 policemen, 10 police officers, all just on top of this guy. Maybe not 10, but I couldn't see the guy himself. All I saw was just a crowd of police at the side of a road, a silver car, I think it was, just a little bit next to them, and that's it. And apparently that guy, like, maybe this is a case of fake news, which is a term I really hate, because Trump. Not every bad bit of news is fake news, Mr. President. Sorry, I shouldn't call you by that. You don't deserve that title. Donny Tiny Hands. But I don't know. There's a lot of injustices. Like, you shared a couple things yesterday of Ultimate Boss Karen making a fake emergency call on a guy in a car, claiming that they were trying to run her over and shit. Like, there's that madness. And then you had a police officer straight up telling a guy that we pulled you over because you're black and we don't recognize you from the area. We're local police, we don't recognize you, you're black, and generally the drug dealers in this area are black. Like,
yeah, it was we don't have any black people in this village and you're black, so I pulled you over.
Like, to a degree, I do get where he was coming from, but at the same time, that was very wrong. Absolutely wrong. And, like, insanely wrong.
We had this discussion a little bit yesterday, and my opinion on that
Someone is buzzing my door. I need to be right back real quick.
It is insanely wrong in terms of, like, you should never ever pull people over based on looks. Full stop. Until there is a direct incident, so if somebody gets kidnapped and there's a few witnesses or even one witness and they say it was a person with ginger hair, it was a black guy, it was 7 foot, whatever, then absolutely pull over every person matching that description in a car and check. Because yes, you are pulling them over based on their look or ethnicity or whatever, but you've had solid sort of evidence, you've had leads to suggest that. Doing routine stops based on looks or based on race is...
You absolutely need, like, the proof. Like, it's not proof per se, but I mean, yeah, like, I get what you mean.
You need a lead. It needs to be...
Yeah.
Me shop's been robbed and the guy was black. Fine. Like, or there's a guy with a blue t-shirt on, he's black and he's 7 foot. We'll stop him. That's fine. Yeah? But just, there's been some trouble in this area recently and we're just doing a routine stop because, that's bullshit and it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen to anybody. Whether you've got blue eyes, brown eyes, black skin, white skin, whatever, like, you know.
This madness. Like, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous, and I seriously hope that everyone gets their shit together already. Like, America is particularly bad right now, but they're not exactly the only place. Like, the UK is not, certainly no saint. No country will be, I imagine. I mean, then you have the cases in, I think it is South Africa, or I can't remember. I'm assuming it was South Africa Dan was talking about anyway, where it's actually the opposite. The black police officers are incredibly racist and hostile to the white civilians. It's a bizarre scenario, but because we're so used to the white officers beating up and killing the black civilians, it's really strange to hear it the other way around. But I feel like South Africa might be a whole other bit of an issue. So, one problem at a time, right? One problem at a time.
That's a different history altogether, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. God, I don't even know the full history, but it's certainly not a very good one. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, I am liking seeing things like KKK leader charged for attack on protesters. That's a pretty good headline right there.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say I hate this one though. George Floyd murderer suspects bail set. He's not a suspect. He's absolutely the murderer. There's no suspicions about it. There's a video. He's the murderer. Come on. But the bail set
it's suspect because it's proving it was murder, isn't it? That's what's got to be proven. You're innocent until proven guilty. You've got to prove it's murder.
I mean, his knee was on his throat.
Yeah. No. We all seen the same video. Yeah. It's that, I mean, and especially with how much public scrutiny this has got in sort of attention. There's no way that any judge is going to sit there and go, no, it's Harry. It's just manslaughter or it wasn't anything. There's no chance. He's going to get the boot thrown at him.
Innocent until proven guilty, though. It's ridiculous. And the fact that I actually saw a video on Reddit, I think, of a guy like going up to individual police officers with a phone out, like camera on, like seeing that they have no name tags, they have no body cams, they have none of these things. So right now we are solely reliant on the public having their phones out and recording at all bloody times. Mm-hmm. Like with what happened a couple of days ago, I think it was a few days ago, where a 75-year-old man went up to some police officers, was pushed down, and was then bleeding from the ears on the floor. The police whoever's the spokesman for them anyway, came out saying he tripped and fell. But there was very much a video showing two officers push the guy. Mm-hmm. Like, they are avoiding having body cams to avoid these things, and it's ridiculous that they can even be turned off in the first place, actually, quite frankly. Like, yes, officers deserve their privacy, so when they go to the toilets, there should not really be a camera on, but at the same time, there needs to be a camera on 100% of the time. Because
they need to be held to a higher standard than the public, the civilians.
God only knows what they've got away with. We only know about the things that have been recorded by the public.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's the thing as well. It's how many people have died from police brutality.
Bruce brutality.
Bruce brutality. Where it's only been them. There hasn't been anyone standing around a video. And how many people have had their phones taken off them having recorded and had it deleted or whatever, because it goes well beyond the police body cams and stuff.
Well, I feel like that's an invasion of privacy or something. I'm sure there's some other, like, granted at that point they probably don't really care, but I'm sure there is some kind of, maybe not a law, but there's something that they're doing wrong anyway, incredibly wrong, by taking your phone and altering evidence. Actually, no, that is a law. That would be breaking a law, because they are tampering with evidence. So
Yeah, but
but
I'm
at the
saying
same time, they don't
if
care.
they've killed somebody or punched somebody or hurt somebody and they're going to get arrested anyway, it's like deleting something from a phone's not exactly going to worry you, is it?
No, not really.
But yeah, like I think the key to this is community policing, and
I feel that's a dangerous one though, because you do have some crazy American people, for instance, who have their guns, who have their ideals, and very questionable. Like,
but why is it questionable? What makes them? What is going to make them kill a community police officer who his only sole job is to like integrate in the community and rather than necessarily like in a squad car?
Okay, I think I may be misunderstanding what you're saying. So, community officer he's still a police officer, right?
I'm talking about like community police rather than not like community policing as in like the community polices itself.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's
I'm
what
talking about putting more police officers rather than them be, patrolling round and literally just driving through estates and looking for trouble or being like ready in that estate for there to be a phone call or whatever they do. Rather than that, I'm talking about like more integration. So, when you see these videos of police sometimes like dancing with the gay pride protesters and people love it, and you see like them playing basketball with kids or ice hockey or not ice hockey but hockey in the street or whatever, or they're playing basketball or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. If the Japanese have or used to they don't have like police stations as such. They have like little huts, and they have like little like a policeman's in these little huts for that like that little area, and often people get to know them and stuff. And I know to some extent it's the same in America. You would get to know your sheriff or you would get to know the local police. I'm talking about like in these big metropolitan areas though, having more police integrating with the school kids, integrating with the businesses way more than what they're doing at the moment. Way more. Like we've got neighborhood watch and stuff, and we've got like pub watch and everything like that. If you have police that are dedicated to those initiatives, where you've got a street that's an estate that's primarily black or whatever, and you've got police, rather than patrolling down the street and shooting people or patrolling down the street looking for trouble because they're low on their arrests this month, if you've got police that literally just patrol the streets, walk into the shop, help out a bit, like community values and that, people are gonna,
I feel like,
trust them a lot more. It's about building the trust back up.
Yeah, I feel like in order to do that though, they just lack the manpower for it. Like I don't know what the figure is, maybe of how many police officers there are in any given area, but I feel like there's just not enough to do that.
Well, they keep getting more funding every year, and they keep getting new guns and bulletproof vests and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly an issue with priorities, isn't there? Like, I think, for instance, rather than putting money towards, say, free education in America, for instance, they'll put that money towards the army because they need more guns. Or God only knows what. There's definitely an odd priority that everyone seems to have, at least in America. I can't say about other countries that I don't even know about the UK. What do they prioritize? Like, I don't know. I probably should know, but I don't know. I haven't a clue what they prioritize. I certainly know we don't have people walking around with guns every couple of doors, essentially, so maybe we're prioritizing the right things. Like, I mean, England doesn't have free education. Scotland has free education in places like the first 4 years of university is free if you're a citizen, I believe. If you've lived here for 3 years or something like that. 3+ years, I don't know. You do get free university for those first 4 years. But other than that, I don't really know what else there is. Like, I think medical-wise, the UK, you still in England, you still have to pay for a prescription, right?
Yeah, it's like £9.50 per.
Yeah, we don't have to do that up here in Scotland. We get for me, in my case, my hands are shite, so I get cream to try and help them heal. I just take that to a chemist. I wait however long I need to, and I get my stuff and I go. There's nothing for me to pay. Granted,
there's a lot of differences.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences just between Scotland and England. Don't even know about Wales and Ireland, or Northern Ireland, I suppose. But like, there's maybe money's not being quite prioritized as it should. But at the same time, I don't know what is being prioritized. Like, I remember filling out a questionnaire for TLDR News on YouTube. They had various questions about our opinions on nuclear power, because I saw a post actually just now. Britain goes coal-free as fossil fuels edged out, which is fantastic news. But what are they going for instead? Are they going for nuclear power, which, sure, is better, but it also brings a lot of dangers because it's nuclear. So what is being
I read that article this morning, and they turned it off because of lockdown, because we're not using anywhere near as much electric.
Ah, I see.
And it must be because industry, like businesses and must obviously use, I don't know, just say the average business uses 10 times more electric than a household. So because everyone's in the house, even like generally speaking, the bulk of your electric's what your fridge, your kettle, your shower, if you've got an electric shower, you know what I mean? Like
TV,
and it's all in small bursts. Like the kettle boiling for 3 minutes is a tiny bit of electric compared to some like Costa running a coffee machine 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day or whatever. But and obviously a lot of like industry and stuff as well. But what they turned it off on the like 4th of April or whatever, 8th of April or whatever, and it's now
9th.
Been 2 months without coal. They haven't used any coal. And what they said is it used to account for something like 40% of the UK's. It's Britain actually. It's not the UK because Ireland's not on the national grid, like Northern Ireland. But it
Makes
used
sense.
to be 40% coal, and now it's 0% coal. And it is because of a rise in wind power and solar panels and stuff, because we haven't built any more nuclear power stations. Like, there's plans, but it's not like one got opened 2 months ago and that's why we've been able to switch off coal, you know?
Yeah.
So it is a rise of renewable energy. So yeah, I mean, once this corona thing's out the way and lockdown things, you know, they might have to switch them back on, or they might have to, I don't know. No one knows, but they will have to switch coal back on because the energy usage will go back up. But it's whether or not you've got it on at full power. Like, are they doing 1 megawatt a day, or are they doing, you know, like half a megawatt a day or whatever? Like, it's that, isn't it? I don't even know if a megawatt's very much in terms of power.
Probably not. No.
No, but you know.
Like, I mean, if a computer uses I think my computer uses a 700 watt PSU. I have a feeling a megawatt is maybe only 1,000 watts, probably.
I'm not sure.
A megawatt, actually, I'm not. No, that would be like a kilowatt, surely. I'm actually kind of curious. 1,000 watts. What is 1,000 watts? Is it a kilowatt? Yeah, okay, it'd be a kilowatt. So a megawatt. Is a megawatt a thing? I'm very curious.
It's probably not. It's probably something off Back to the Future or something.
No, that's gigawatts.
Yeah, gigawatts.
1.21 gigawatts. Actually, my biggest beef with that one is it's not 1.21, it's 1.21. Sorry, I had to say. There's gigawatts. Hang on. So I've got a list here from Wikipedia of multiple watts. We've got attowatt, femtowatt, picowatt, nanowatt, microwatt, milliwatt, kilowatt. Megawatt is a thing. Gigawatt, terawatt, petawatt.
So how many kilowatts is in a megawatt?
I don't know. I'm trying to The megawatt is equal to 1 million watts. Blimey. Okay.
Yeah.
So a kilowatt is 1,000. So times that by 1,000. It's 1,000 kilowatts then.
So yeah, maybe megawatts is right then. Because I've just looked up it. According to BBC, it says here, nuclear energy was 2,700 terawatt in 2018.
That's 1 trillion watts. Okay. Jesus.
Hydro 4,200. So like quite a bit more, like 1,500 more hydro. Wind. So actually, like wind, hydro, and solar come to like a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. The world has resources, renewable resources that we should absolutely be making much more use of. Like, the UK is in a particularly good spot because we're a large mass of land, but not the largest mass of land. We are an island surrounded by water. Like, hydropower is pretty easy. Granted, I'm not sure what the best way to get hydropower from it is from. Sorry, so like obviously if you have a dam or a river, that's probably the best way to do it. Out in the ocean, I'm not entirely sure how that works. I guess there is something I saw a little while ago of these little drones that are being sent out to try and help clean up the oceans, and they run on the kinetic energy of the oceans. So I don't really know how that works. I guess there's always some kind of current that's maybe pushing a paddle, maybe, and that's what's generating that power. Maybe that still works in the oceans around us right now. I'm not entirely sure. But
I'll tell you what I watched on YouTube yesterday, and I can't remember how I found it. I don't know. Someone probably linked us it on Discord or something, you know. But there was a video of there's this project that can I get my words out? Holland,
right,
and Germany are basically they're proposing this huge dam to block off the North Sea, to combat the rise in sea levels. So it would go from you know, like the Shetland Islands at the very top of Scotland. In that corner of Scotland, it would go from there all the way to Norway, and then there would be another dam between like Cornwall, that sort of like bottom, you know, southwest England to France, and it would essentially over the years turn the North Sea from a sea into a into a lake. And what it would do is it would totally stop the tides and the tides. So you would control the sea level completely. So like, because there's a big danger, so like there's parts of England in the east from that would potentially you would lose land, you would be covered in water, flood, whatever phrase you want to use. But the Netherlands, because of how flat it is or how like close to the water or something it is in terms of like height, they're gonna potentially like lose whatever it is, 25% of their land or something in the Netherlands from rising sea levels.
Right.
And a huge amount of their like cities and stuff or towns or whatever are obviously on that like belt. And so they're proposing to put from the very top right corner of Scotland all the way to Norway a big wall, like a dam. And it's interesting.
Makes no sense. It's an insane feat to think about, but it makes no sense. Because if you stop the water going into the North Sea, or like reduce the water rather, so that everything in the North Sea area stays the same, that water still goes somewhere. The water that's been blocked off. So that means the left side of the UK will instead be flooded more. Like, the water doesn't just cease to be; it just goes elsewhere. So like,
I get that logic, yeah.
That makes no sense to do that. I get the idea of trying to preserve, but that honestly makes no sense.
If you consider the North Sea, I mean, I'm plucking figures totally out of thin air that are going to be 100% wrong. But if the North Sea was 1 litre bottle of water, yeah, it's expected to rise by an inch. Yeah?
Sure, yeah.
You block that off, so that doesn't rise by the inch, but it's only a litre of water. But the rest of the world is a 100 litre bottle of water. So it's only going to raise by 0.05 of an inch everywhere else. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, I'm with you. The math is so wrong, but I'm with you.
Yeah, the math is a million, well, it's wrong. It's either right or wrong, and it's wrong. So it's not 1,000,000% or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, but I just find, with you mentioning the renewable energy and the hydro and things like that, like, presumably it would benefit Europe in so many ways, in terms of, like, that dam would I would think they would build so much hydro stuff into the dam so that, you know, when water's passing through it or
no, yeah,
whatever,
absolutely,
it would
be a
probably,
pretty big source.
Exactly. In a dam that size, could that power a country? I haven't got a clue, because that is a lot. That is a big, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could that power a country for a week in total or something? I don't know. Like, I'm just plucking things out the top of my head, but is that theoretically possible? Because that would be incredible. And then also, it's like they would build a road over the top of it potentially as well, you know? So you would have this, like, bridge going from Norway to Scotland, and this bridge going from France to Cornwall or wherever they decide to put it. It depends where they would put it, but you could have bridges.
Cool. That would be really cool, but so incredibly risky. Like, that, like, I don't know how deep it is. Say at the top of the North Sea. I don't know.
I think they said the deepest point was 300 meters or something.
So they talk about having a over 300 meter tall dam, because you obviously need to go above the sea level. So take into account the rest of the sea levels rising. Let's just say we go for 350 meter tall in total, like at the highest point anyway. Well, yeah. You have a huge amount of space that could easily go wrong. Like, bearing in mind, you then have to take into account tectonic plates. If those start shifting, because they are shifting, like, that's what causes earthquakes. Like, even here, wherever there's a tectonic plate for us, I don't actually know, but there will be a tectonic plate somewhere around us, because we have had earthquakes in the UK. Granted, not very big ones, rather. But anything could go wrong with a dam that size. Anything could go wrong with a dam full stop. Like, I saw a video not too long ago of a dam somewhere, I think in America, which just gave way. So, and this is during the pandemic. So people were told to be locked in their houses to stay in quarantine until a dam broke and they had to be evacuated. And we're not quite building a wall.
There was one here in England 5 months ago or so, when because Boris Johnson didn't visit and stuff, and the town was flooded and stuff, wasn't it?
Boris Johnson didn't visit, so our dam broke. Why? I mean, yeah, sure, there's that, but I mean, that's just a normal dam. Like, granted, there's still probably a really big dam. I don't know how big they usually are, but we're talking about a 300+ meter tall dam spanning God only knows the distance. That's
I don't
insanity.
know. You'd have to measure it on Google Maps or something, but whether or not that's accurate, I don't know.
Right
depends
now,
which point in Norway.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've scrolled onto on the map here. I've got Scotland in the bottom left. Norway's kind of taken. Actually, we can zoom in some more. Okay, so we're kind of just the tip of Scotland going to just the edge of Norway here. We're at 20 kilometers. So a 300+ meter tall thing by 20,000 meter length, if not more.
By whatever width. Or
by the width of that as well. I guess in this case the depth would actually be 300+, but that is a huge amount of dam that could go incredibly wrong and be incredibly disastrous. Yeah, we're taking sea depths. I asked Chris about this. Apparently, the deepest part of the North Sea is 350 meters. 300 meters. Sorry. Was it 300?
Yeah, 300 meters, I think it said. At the deepest point, so that it doesn't mean that it might only be 50 meters for a lot of it, or I don't know.
The deepest point could be dead in the middle where this Google Maps pin is, but the dam's not going through that, it's going through the top. But the deepest point is 300, so it's 300 plus meter tall, or deep, whatever, by however wide. If there's going to be roads, I imagine it's going to be a two-sided road, potentially even more than that, so that's, let's say, 20 meters wide by 20,000 long.
Yeah.
That's a dam that would cause some absolute disasters if it were to break. Like, it's kind of hard to take into account how much we're talking here, but say, for instance, the sea levels were to rise enough, and we're doing this to try and spare places from flooding, there will absolutely be a tsunami. Like, people will die if that were to break.
There's different aspects to this. You're right. If it was to break, but
it's a lot of cement too.
They are not going to build something that is simply going to break from a Richter scale, 5, 6, 7, whatever. And we don't have 7 Richter scale.
No,
in the North
no, we
Sea.
don't. We don't have that. But who knows what might happen?
We're not going to build it like that. There's engineers, obviously, that are good. Like, these proposals will be thought out so that these things are. It's thick enough or whatever, or it's got rods through it. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but yeah. And the other thing is as well, like you say, like the sea levels are only expected to rise like an inch or two, or something. It's not like per 5 year or something. So it's not something where you're going to end up with like a massive amount of buildable water on one side where it's going to start gushing out. It's not like a dam here, like in the middle of the country or whatever, where I don't think anyway. Do you know what I mean? I would think it would still be quite even for the most part. I don't know though. I really don't know. But I find interesting though was the estimated cost for it was going to be something like 60 billion. Which sounds like a lot. Well, it is a lot. But
million or billion?
Billion.
Okay. I was going to say, if it's million, like, that's not that much, actually. I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos could pay for that.
Yeah. It's because of so, I don't know who Krupp is, but...
Creep. My friend.
Creep.
Callie.
Creep. Right. Creepy Krupp. It's to do with the rising sea levels. Basically, Holland, or the Netherlands, are really... worried because they're going to be affected the most by the rising sea levels. It's going to get rid of 20% of the country or something potentially, compared to like the east of England might lose 0.5% of its beaches or whatever, but Holland's going to be covered because of how low down it is and how flat it is or something. So and Germany's worried a bit for the north part of Germany as well. So it's like a joint initiative between them. So the Netherlands is spending something like 200 million a year or something on its sea defences at the moment, and then they're not keeping up. So it's still they're still struggling. So they're building something, and they're only expecting these sea defences that they're currently building to last 10 year or something. So or 20 year or whatever. So they're it's something to do with them being behind on it, and it's costing them a lot. Whereas 60 billion. Over 20 years they estimated it. And I mean, I know it would go up, but 60 million over 20 years, there's 12 countries it would affect. So if you look, it's it would affect the UK, it would affect Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Germany, Spain, France, Belgium, Netherlands and that. It would affect, there's 12 countries or something that it would affect in total.
Yeah.
So if you split it up between the 12, over 20 years, it works out with 250 mil a year per country, which is not it's not a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be done.
At the same time, I feel like it's not quite the answer. That just sounds more like a temporary solution. Because, I mean, as it stands, through the pandemic, obviously sea levels haven't exactly gone down or anything like that, but the case of the ozone layer, I believe, at least Dan told me, that has now healed. I don't know if that's fully true. I tried to look it up and I couldn't quite find whatever it was he was looking at, but just through the ozone being healed enough anyway, that would reduce sea levels rising as long as it kind of kept it that way. So obviously, as soon as life goes back to normal, and we start burning coal again, for instance, that is probably going to start getting damaged again. Things will start heating up again, and it's just going to be back to square one. But what I was thinking about the other day was like, what if just once a year we just had an entire month where we act like it's the pandemic again? We just shut down for a month a year, kind of thing. Like, it's obviously not been that bad.
You want to do Earth Hour. You want to do Earth Hour, Earth Month. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, basically that, because that would be the most effective thing to do. If everyone is forced to just switch off, well, not switch off fully, obviously, but just live like we are now for a month, because it's perfectly doable. It sucks for some.
Just kill the economy once a year. Good idea.
It's perfect. I mean, maybe it'll keep things in control. Who knows? But I don't know. I mean, arguably, I wouldn't say it's killing it so much. How am I supposed to get cutting edge with Earth Month? I mean, you can still play on your computer, mate. That's what all of us are doing, isn't it? I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't be a bad solution either. Like, obviously, put money towards whatever you can to try and help the world heal and just reduce everything. Like, get things back to a healthy state again. But just stopping.
You ever looked at them tree websites where it's like pay to plant a tree, like adopt a tree sort of thing, and you pay per month? I had a look at them, and I didn't realise how expensive it was. Like, some of these things, it was like, do you want to plant this tree? It's only $30 and that. And I'm like, $30? Like, to plant a tree? Like, 30. Do you know what I mean?
You had a better deal when Mr. Beast was doing his plant a tree thing, where it was like $1 gets one tree. And I think it depends
on the tree, though, because the website that I was on, it gave you, like, the breakdown. So it was like, you can do a $5 tree, and it over 50 years... it'll, I don't know how they measure carbon dioxide, but it's like over 50 years, this tree will suck up, like convert just, 500 carbon dioxide. I don't know what it's measured in. Right? But if you spend $10, it's like, it's not 1,000, it's like 2,000. And then if you spend $30, it's like 4 million carbon dioxide, like, whatever measurement. So you bet, like, if you want it, and then it tells you how, what do you have, an Xbox, an iPhone, a TV, a fridge, whatever. You put it all in, and it says over your life you're probably going to use, just say, 10 million kilowatt hours of electric or whatever. So to totally offset, you would need to buy 8 of these trees per month. Do you know what I mean? Like 8 of these good trees per month or whatever. And then you look at it and you go like, well, bloody hell, it's like $180 a month I'd have to spend to offset my carbon.
And that's just for footprint. You as one individual.
Yeah. I'll find the website because it was interesting. Like, but it worked out really expensive. And because it's so expensive, I just went, fuck it, I'm not buying a tree anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, fair enough.
I don't want to spend $5 on something that's not even going to make a difference. What? I'd rather spend $5 on, like, I could plant a tree in my back garden for $5 and it would probably,
What do trees do for us anyway? Who needs them, alright? Who needs them? All they're doing is just taking up our money.
I've got a tree in my back garden.
I wouldn't say it's my back garden, but the area behind the flats that we all share, there's at least one tree right outside my window anyway. I don't know how many trees there are. My monitors are kind of, now that I have this stand, the arms for my monitors,
you can't call your weed plant a tree.
It's not a weed plant. It is an actual tree. There is a weed plant too, but there is an actual tree too. I think there's actually another tree just below, actually, which grows some kind of fruit. I'm not sure. It's either pears or peaches, apples or peaches. I can't remember which, but it grows something. On another note, Corruption Vendor just updated. Yep, yeah, I was gonna get to that at some point. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, North America's had their reset. We've actually talked longer than I was expecting us to be honest. I was kind of thinking we'd maybe do an hour and a half or something, but we've gone over 2 hours. But yeah, no, the corruption vendor has changed for World of Warcraft, which brings with it Echoing Void rank 1. Meh. It's alright, not great. Versatile 1. Meh. Hone Mine 2. Meh. Infinite Stars 2, which is something I wanted until I got the weapon I've been chasing forever. Deadly Momentum, which is okay, rank 3. Void Ritual rank 3. No idea if anyone really cares about that. And Gushing Wound, which is a very nice one. Even though it's been nerfed, it's very nice. This one was the case of your spells and abilities had a chance to apply a damage over time ability, a dot, on whatever you're fighting, which would make them bleed essentially for however long? 7 seconds for however much damage. It's really good. Like, I don't know if it's good now, because like I say, it's been nerfed, but who knows. But there you go. That's come out. That's been done. We don't have to worry about that one anymore. We can end the stream now. No one cares anymore. That's all they came here for. They just wanted to know when North America got their reset.
We should end this stream now because I've got to go and get some other stuff done, get some work done.
I'm kind of wanting to have some lunch. But yeah, so on the topic of everything, may we have these just parting messages. Black Lives Matter. Be good to the world, because oh boy, can it fuck us at any given second. And Dan's an asshole.
And happy Pride Month for everyone.
And happy Pride Month as well. I forgot about that as well. I was thinking about it before we started, and I was just thinking, must remember this. I forgot already. So yeah, maybe not Dan's an asshole, but Pride Month for everyone. Be good to one another. Just
love each other. Love, not hate.
We have far too much hate going on in the world, and it's enough. Let's just be done with that. We don't need that anymore. There are far more important things going on than us. Like, we've got to think about the future at this point. Our children, our children's children, our children's children's children, all that crap. We have to be thinking so much more ahead than we are. We need to solve the shit that we're dealing with now so it doesn't have to ever be done again. Because this should have been done years ago already. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, for watching, depending how you're doing it anyway. Hopefully we'll be back again next Tuesday, maybe not 2 p.m. GMT, maybe a bit later, we'll see. And uploading this, I'll be putting it up on Fridays, or as we will dub it, free days. At some point, I don't know. I don't think it really matters what time it goes up on the Friday on those platforms, but there you go. But yeah, you can find myself at Osfree most places. I think Instagram, I am Osborne1992, my old username, but I don't really use Instagram, so that's fine. And I stream here now Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Sundays, Mondays, most days of the week apparently. And what about you, Chris? Where can people find you? What are you doing that you'd like to plug?
You can find us at Fainrath pretty much everywhere that you would need to find me. But I do not do anything. I do not stream. I rarely tweet. I retweet stuff. I'm a pretty boring person to follow. So if you like boring people that don't talk much and don't spam your Twitter account feed with like 100 tweets per day, then give us a follow. You know, because I don't really care. But yeah, give us a follow, and I don't know, I don't really have anything to plug, so the only thing I plug is myself, and that's between me and myself and I. So
that's pretty hot.
It can be.
It can be. Well, yeah, that is it from us, so thanks again for watching, thanks for coming by, and we'll see you whenever the hell we see you next.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.